before Elon Musk, before Jeff Bezos, before Rockefeller. Centuries ago, one man became the richest person in the world. His fortune was so massive, it rivaled the wealth of nations. He could buy property, armies, even politicians. But here's the twist. His greed didn't just make him powerful, it helped destabilize his entire country. This is the story of Marcus Licinius Crassus, Rome's first billionaire, the man whose wealth shaped history and whose ambition helped bring down a republic. Chapter 1. Who was Crassus? Marcus Crassus wasn't a great general. He wasn't a brilliant philosopher. He wasn't even especially loved by the people. What he was rich, obscenely rich. Born into wealth, he expanded it through ruthless tactics. By the time he was done, his fortune would have been worth over $20 billion in today's money. In Rome, that wasn't just success, it was dominance. But what made Crassus infamous wasn't the size of his fortune, it was how he built it. Chapter 2. How he built his fortune. Crassus had a genius for exploitation. First, the fire brigade trick. Rome had no official firefighters, so Crassus created his own private brigade. When a house caught fire, his men would show up, not to help, but to bargain. Crassus would offer to buy the burning property for pennies. If the owner refused, he'd let it burn to the ground. If they agreed, he'd order his men to put it out. Over time, he amassed huge swathes of Rome this way. Second, slaves. Crassus didn't just buy them. He specialized in skilled ones, architects, artisans, builders. He then created a workforce that could build cheaply and sell for massive profit. Every new Roman villa, every lavish temple had Crassus's fingerprints on it. Third, monopolies. He controlled silver mines, land, and contracts. He wasn't just a businessman, he was the system. By the time he was finished, Crassus didn't just own property, he owned Rome's future. Chapter 3. Wealth becomes power. But here's the thing. For Crassus, money wasn't enough. He wanted status. He wanted glory. And most of all, he wanted to stand shoulder to shoulder with Rome's greatest men. That meant politics. Crassus used his wealth to buy influence in the Senate, bribe juries, and fund ambitious allies. He became one of the three men who effectively ran Rome, the first triumvirate, alongside Pompey the Great and Julius Caesar. He bankrolled Caesar's rise, paying off debts and fueling campaigns. In return, Caesar gained power, Pompey gained recognition, and Crassus gained envy. He wanted military fame, victories, parades, but money couldn't buy that. And so Crassus made the one move that would destroy him, and Rome. Chapter 4. The Fatal Mistake. In 53 BCE, Crassus led an army of 40,000 into Parthia, modern-day Iran. His goal: conquer new lands and cement himself as Rome's greatest general. It was a disaster. He ignored advice, underestimated his enemy, and marched into a trap. At the Battle of Carrhae, his army was surrounded. Tens of thousands of Romans were slaughtered. And Crassus himself, according to legend, he was captured, mocked for his greed, and executed by having molten gold poured down his throat. The richest man in Rome, killed by the very symbol of his obsession. But his death didn't just end a man, it shattered the fragile balance of power in Rome. Chapter 5. The Consequences for Rome. With Crassus gone, the alliance with Caesar and Pompey collapsed. The two remaining giants turned on each other, plunging Rome into civil war. Within years, Pompey was dead, Caesar was dictator, and the Republic was gone. In its place rose the empire, the Caesars, the emperors, the end of democracy. And while Crassus wasn't the sole cause, his greed, his ambition, and his reckless hunger for glory set the stage for Rome's fall. One man's quest to be more than a billionaire helped collapse an entire political system. So here's the lesson. Crassus wasn't just the first billionaire, he was a warning. His story shows us what happens when extreme wealth mixes with unchecked ambition. Today we see billionaires shaping politics, buying media, funding wars, and chasing personal glory. We tell ourselves this is new. But Rome already lived this story. And just like Rome, we have to ask, what happens when one man's fortune grows so powerful it can destabilize a nation? Because history doesn't just repeat, it whispers warnings. And Crassus's story is whispering to us right now. So I'm curious, if you lived back then, would you admire Crassus or blame him for the collapse? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more stories that dig into the hidden side of history, hit that subscribe button.